Ollie Watkins is wanted by Liverpool boss Arne Slot to replace misfiring Darwin Núñez. Liverpool preparing bid for Aston Villa's Ollie Watkins as Arne Slot makes his move. Jurgen Klopp has already endorsed Liverpool move for Ollie Watkins. So on. Arne Slot identifies first Liverpool transfer target as Reds boss seeks to replace Darwin Núñez, etc. You get an idea of what the claims are today. These claims originate from the Sun newspaper, which is obviously boycotted by Liverpool supporters, vehemently, territorially in Liverpool. Don't even mention that fucking name of that, but even further afield, around the world, Liverpool fans, because of their reporting of the Hillsborough disaster and the fact that it's just a load of shit anyway, won't touch that rag, and it's a very sensitive issue, obviously, but we can't talk about things and pretend that, if someone says, where are these claims coming from, Dunk? You can't say from nowhere, just to be like what you're on about. So we have to say where these claims are coming from. And does it mean by default, because the rag is hated, that it's not true? It can't be true. This is many decades after the event. I wouldn't be able to tell you about any journalists at that rag. It's not a rag that I think most football fans that have not got that problem with the Sun newspaper. I don't think fans of other clubs would be like, oh, it's in the Sun, we've got to believe that, if it was something to do with their club. Now, the journalist behind the article I've never heard of before, to be honest with you. So to me, it just feels like it's some teenager in a little office as part of that organisation that's trying to, get clicks for a website kind of thing, because they have all these different, content writers and all this shit now. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's not even in the print edition. I don't know. I'm not going to look, but this is where the claims are coming from. And then what's happened is the Mail, the Mirror, and so on have then jumped on that because they want to get transfer news out there or rumours out there to sell newspapers and to get clicks to their websites, even though they're saying it's the Sun that's reporting it. Do you know what I mean? And like I say to you many times, when fans see multiple newspapers or multiple outlets making the same claims, they think that gives it strength then. It's, oh man, it's everywhere. But if you were to look at all those different articles, they all cite the Sun. So the Sun is responsible for those claims today. Now, Ollie Watkins, I would really like to hear what you think about whether you would like to see Ollie Watkins recruited. I believe he's 29 years of age, 30 at the very end of this year. That, to me, just seems a little bit on the more mature side of what we're used to seeing under FSG, right? It doesn't... 29 years of age, mate, doesn't mean anything to me. But what I mean is that I wouldn't go, that's too old. Do you know what I mean? It's just the way that we've been programmed as Liverpool supporters under this ownership, because, we've seen players in the past signed in excess of 30 and being fucking great, and managers like people like Sir Alex Ferguson, when he was in the game, he wouldn't be put off by a player's age. If you're good enough, that's it. But with our owners, they tend to buy players that have a resale value, right? So like that 23, 24 years of age, get the best years out of them. When they're right at the fucking top, then they can start thinking about, cashing in on a player. I'm not saying that's their policy. We buy to sell later down the line, but it's just common sense, isn't it? If you get someone to do really well at the height, if they can get a lot of money for that person, then take it. If not, stick with them, right? So, but Liverpool always seem to, anyway, with the exception of I forgot his name already. Endo, that's it, Endo. We'll get my Endo away at the weekend if things go all right. Sorry, did I say that out loud? Yeah, there'll be no Saturday night streaming this weekend. Endo, there you go. I don't even know how old he is. Fucking hell, let's have a look now. Fucking Endo. Sucky long time. Ah, dear me. Come on, how old are you fucker? 31. Just. So was he 30 when we got him or something like that? Yeah, we don't usually do that, right? They like players with a resale value. So Ollie Watkins at 29, turning 30, they ain't going to get that, are they? So I guess it all depends on valuation. What would you say that his value would be? What would be acceptable? Would you want to see him signed? Would you want to see him signed to replace Darwin Núñez? I just think it's a bit of a lazy claim, if you like. Do you know what I mean? Like, pick decent player, pick a flop. I'm not being funny here. People will say that he's been a flop, right? Darwin Núñez, he certainly hasn't lived up to his expectations as yet. So I'll rephrase it out of kindness, because I ain't got a problem with him. And I don't want to see him sold this summer unless silly money comes in. I'd like to see him given a chance under a new manager. So pick a player that's performing, pick versus one that isn't. Find a club with a new manager that might have, want to change things. And there you've got a transfer rumour, which sounds, plausible unless you really, take into consideration ages and previous policy. The only thing we can say is that we don't know what this structure is going to be like. We have seen no evidence of what this new structure is going to be like. The big E and Dick, right? Michael Edwards, Richard Hughes. We don't know what they're going to do. We've got a head coach. So why is a head coach? It just doesn't make sense that you're seeing that, Arne Slot, forgot his name already. Arne Slot has identified his first signing. I'm not really sure that Arne Slot's going to be making his first, identifying his first signing, because in my opinion, Big E and Dick, right, they'll have identified a number of players that they would like to bring in and present to them and say, look, we've got the stats for this, this and this. And that's where we need to know if this new manager, head coach, but, I'm going to call him a manager. I give a fuck what they say, right? If he's going to have a lot of clout, do you know what I mean? Like, is he going to be able to say, well, I like this lad, but his stats don't match up, so you can't have him. Do you know what I mean? We spoke about this yesterday in a video. Michael Edwards isn't the only one, I think it was. And maybe you should watch that if you haven't seen that one, to do with stats and things. And I have got a follow-up for that today, actually. So Ollie Watkins linked with Liverpool. Apparently it's because Arne Slot has identified him to be the first signing to replace Darwin Núñez. It just doesn't sound right to me. I don't know. And I think it doesn't sound right to me for two reasons. One, the player's age, and two, I'm not really sure that Arne Slot will be identifying the first signing this summer. Because we've got nothing to go on. We don't know how this new structure is going to work yet. And people keep saying, who do you think will be first through the door, Duncan? I ain't got a fucking clue. Because I just don't know how they're thinking. We need to see a couple of their moves first and then work out whether that was a, management signing or whether it was a coach signing. Do you know what I mean? And then we can start to go, all right, okay, this is what it's going to be like. You would assume or hope that it's going to be a combined effort. So you're going to get the stats people and you're going to get the big cheese saying, we want to bring this player and deliver him to you. But they should also surely have your new boss that has input and says, well, I want to bring this kid in from wherever. I've been tracking him for years. I want him. And hope that the big cheese don't turn around and say, well, his stats don't match up. I'm going to talk about the stats thing, but one thing I will say, and unless you watched that video yesterday, you might not understand this. Watty made a good comment. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was to do with... Well, you have to watch the other video, because I'm going to do it in a minute. But what I was going to say is, you can have all the best stats in the world, but mentally, if it's not there mentally, when you make a transfer to another club, it doesn't make any difference. And especially when the kids. So when they're scouting young players, his stats are brilliant, but you just don't know mentally if he, when he moves on to steps up, if he's even going to enjoy the game. I'll explain this in another video, because you probably don't know what I'm talking about. So if you see a reference today about Edwards and stats follow-up or something, it'll be that one. But it might be an idea to go back and watch the one yesterday. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place today with my videos. I've explained where this link's come from. I've given reason as to why we should have a bit of caution there. But just Just because I got caution or where it's come from doesn't mean it's not true or can't happen. But you just got to look at them, aren't you, and think, does that sound right? Do you know what I mean, guys? If you appreciate the video, please thumbs up. Please drop me a comment if you've managed to, work your way through this video. If you want to buy me a coffee or a beer for Saturday night, please hit the super thanks button. I'll give you a shout out tomorrow morning's briefing. Video description, chat room, newsletter, Facebook group, social media, etc., etc. All right, guys, speak to you in a bit.